What is going on, everybody? Hey, Monty here with another episode, another edition of Hey Chill, It's Just a Podcast. We are back here with another week, man, and it's not the typical day we do the show, but you know, some days we just can't do it on Mondays. I got an event going on Monday, so I'm going to be somewhere else, so we decided to do it today, and it worked for all of us here, and we have a very special guest in the building today. I've actually been very excited for this one for a few weeks, because I met him back at this has been a couple months now, right?
Yeah,
what was it, in September? Maybe?
Yes,
no.
September.
Early September maybe?
Was a month ago. Just saying.
Was it?
A few weeks, not months.
It was I've met him.
Just saying.
But anyway, and we met through the camp, and man, I was so interested in what they had going on, and I felt like we have a really important person in the room, is how I felt, you know, when we were all discussing. So let me introduce, man, my new friend here, Jay.
What's up?
Jay
What's up, man?
Findlay or just Findlay?
You can say Findlay. Yeah.
All right, Jay
Findlay.
Mr. CEO of Antidote Agency, man. And today, I want to know more about what it is you guys do, what your motivations are, what keeps you going, and really just talk to you a lot about Antidote, man.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, I appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to us.
For sure.
Always. I know you're a busy
Thanks for
guy. I
having
see you
me.
on the move.
Yeah, man. We're busy. We've been
I see
busy.
you on the move a lot, brother. Like I've been following your page, and I'm like, dang, they're here, they are there, they are every freaking where. Like,
yeah.
man. So let's get a broad introduce yourself.
For
first,
sure.
You know.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the intro. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
You know, but yeah, Jay Findlay, CEO, Antidote Agency, entertainment company. I was an artist for many years. Been in this, you could say, music business for close to 20 years, man.
Wow.
I know I look young. No, I'm just playing.
You do, man.
But no, just, you know, being around music, being an artist for many years, having a lot of, you know, connections with different people. Started the agency about 1.5 years ago. And the goal of the agency is to provide opportunities for artists.
Yeah.
Really the gist of it.
Yeah.
Whether it's shows, whether it's, you know, putting together the show, putting people on stages, and then getting money in their pocket, you know, because as we know, being an artist costs money.
Damn right.
You know what I mean? So for my goal is to get money back in their pocket to help them continue to do what they do.
Yeah. I saw recently you guys were out in Virginia Beach. What was that, right on the ocean front, right?
Yeah, man. We got pulled into Pulse Festival, the first ever.
Tell me
Pulse
about
Festival.
that. Like, tell me about that experience for you. How did that even come about?
Crazy, man. So Something in the Water, as you all know, was supposed to be in October.
Yeah, what
this year.
happened?
And from what I hear, I don't know the details, but something happened. Either, I don't know. I don't want to say because I don't know.
Yeah.
But they didn't make it happen.
Okay.
The festival was pushed back. I guess next year, April is what they're looking at.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the city of Virginia Beach was like, hey, we have this weekend already established. We had people that were coming in town. We want to still do something. And so there was other activations going on, you know, from other organizers, people doing things in the beach because of that weekend. As you know, somebody books a venue, they want to still do their thing there.
Yeah.
So those didn't end. And so the city said, well, let's just put some stages together, make this a festival. 3 weeks, though. It was 3-week turnaround, you know.
Wow.
So that was kind of tight. We got a call from the city, good friends of ours in the city. We did some things in Juneteenth. We did some other things for the city. And so they said, hey, can you come in and bring a national act? You guys will have Friday. You'll kick things off, and you have the stage. You know, what can you do? And so knowing us, we're like, hey, this is perfect. This is what we want to do.
Dang,
you know?
right.
And so we called a few people, made a few connections. We pulled in Chaz French. I don't know if you guys know Chaz French from DC. He's got a new song with Wale right now.
Okay.
We had some relationship with him. I lived in the DC area, so I was able to connect with them. And then Rotimi. We pulled Rotimi in. He was on Power. He's also an R&B / Afrobeat artist.
What's
know
that
Rotimi.
song? Yes, I do. What's that song?
He's got a few.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Dude is fire. Yes,
Yeah,
I like his music.
So
I like
we
his
wanted
music a
something
lot.
different. You know, like we wanted to bring in, because we do a lot with hip hop, R&B. You know, we do other genres, but that's kind of the main genre we work with, or genres we work with.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to do something different. We wanted a female artist as well, but it just was too quick of a turnaround. So within 3 weeks, if we had 3 weeks till the date, so we're like, okay, who can we get? We started calling around different people. I won't say one artist, but we reached out to one. They were like, yeah, for your budget, we can do one song. I'm like, Nah, man, that's not gonna
One
work.
song.
Exactly. So it was really tough just trying to negotiate, find the right artist. But Rotimi was on top of our list, and we just made it happen.
That's awesome.
He just did an amazing job. He connected with the fans. He brought some people on stage with him. Just really, really dope guy, man. And then since he's just got on Vlad just recently, just came out.
Yeah.
He's got a new album on the way. And his single dropped the day before our show. So it was like perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
You know what I mean? For us, for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that was a blessing. And then to bring the indie artists from the town, from Virginia Beach.
That's the important part, man.
That was the biggest thing, man. That's what we want to do. So.
And that's what I respect and I appreciate is giving the platform to the artists who I feel like really deserve it. Yep. It's the independent artists, because there's a lot out here who are fire, who are dope, who make good music, who do make the moves, who do what they have to do, and they don't get the recognition from VA, and I don't blame them a lot of the times, because it's a tough market out here. It's a tough catch to really like connect with fans unless you're already on.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you leave and come back, it's easy. Everybody's just gonna hop on the train. But trying to really build from here is difficult. But I feel like a lot of it is because there hasn't been enough opportunity for the artist. So to see agencies like you guys coming together to be able to give these opportunities to these people, because you guys got to realize this is directly on the ocean front. These guys are at like they're in some like venues that are getting a lot of traction, or outdoor venues that like in Virginia Beach, right on the ocean front, you got thousands of people walking by, regardless if they come and really sit and watch the show or not. They're going to be hearing the music,
For sure.
So it's a really dope platform and opportunity for these artists, So tell me about your vetting process for finding these artists. Like,
no, I mean, that's the fun part for me, know, like to be able to hear new music. You guys were playing stuff when I walked in, you know, to be able to hear that. Just hearing an artist, and their passion, it does something to me. You know what I mean? And for me, I always had this ear that's like, I can easily within 5 seconds, I know, okay, this is the one or no. And it's not like a negative thing. It's not like I'm dissing somebody. It's just, to me, I know this one's gonna go. And every time that I trust my ear to do that, bro, songs go crazy. Whether it's a well-known artist or whether it's the indie artist. And so trusting my ear is important, you know what I mean? But I feel like that's been over years of just being around the music and knowing, what to listen for. So I just go through that process. Right now, we're still kind of the new guys in the area. You know what I mean? Like, I've been doing this for years, but like establishing the agency, kind of putting our footprint here. So, once people start hearing about us, they reach out and I say, hey, just send me your music. That's the first thing. I'm asking for a lot when I say that. I'm not just saying, hey, send me your music. I want to see where is their music at. Are they going to email it to me? Are they going to say, hey, go to YouTube, here's a video? That kind of shows where they are as an artist, because for me, I have to decide, if we do have a budget, how much can I pay you? Right? And in order to do that, I got to look and see if you have invested in yourself. Say you have 4 projects out, full-blown albums, you're going to get a certain price. If you got one single, I see that you really haven't invested in yourself. So that's kind of my measuring, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that I look for, that we look for in my team. But man, just hearing that music, like I said, and when those songs stick out, it's like, man, I can envision them on certain stages. And then now I'm like, okay, how can we get them on that stage? Or how can we get them involved with this event or that event, or do their own event? All these different ideas start coming to me. And when that happens, then we just, connect, we talk, we kind of hear about their vision, what are they trying to do? And, help them curate the best event, or bring them into the events we already have.
Yeah. And that's really dope, man. Man, it's cool to see that. It's cool to see somebody finally out here really trying to give the opportunities to the right people. For me personally, for me to even like really deal with you on more of a serious level, that all of that matters. How you contact me with your music matters, because I've had a lot of artists who want to work with me more as far as like me producing them and doing stuff like that. But I'm the same way. It's like, I got to know that you're really serious about the work, because if I'm going to invest my time into you, my time is the most valuable thing in my life. So the money is one thing. I don't mind doing stuff if I'm not going to immediately get paid for it. But if I know nothing's going to come of it, then I'm not going to do it. But if know for a fact, we're gonna be able to do something with this, I'm totally down for it. You know what I mean? And so that's an important process, and especially for the artists out here. There's what I call hobby artists, and then there's career artists. There's artists who are out here really just doing it as a hobby and act like it's a career, but it's not really a career. It's really just a hobby. And then there's artists who are treating it like a career, you know? Sure. And so dealing with these artists, you got to deal with a lot of egos. You got to deal with a lot of, I'm the best out here, I'm sure. You know what I mean? How are you with dealing with these Virginia artists specifically? Like, how is that experience for you?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't run into like many, I would say too many issues with that, because we already have that vetting process. So we're going to get to know who they are before we even start working with them. So really, once we get through that process, it's really smooth. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the egos can come into play, you know, like when it comes to set placements, you know, oh, I'm going to go here and why are they ahead of me and this and that on the bigger stages. But, you know, really we just, they trust us and we trust them. Yeah. And so when we build that reputation with the artist, we don't really have those issues. Now, of course, there's going to be some things that come up, like I said, but it's been pretty smooth, you know, as of now. Not a lot of issues with the artist because we're on the same page. We both want the same goal. We want them to shine. They want to shine. And so we provide that opportunity. And
so are you guys more or less focused on independent artists, or do you work with labels as well?
We do. So more recently been doing more of the national act booking. We actually have one. I won't be able to tell you yet, but we have a big one coming in January. Okay. The goal with that is, though, to bring the indie artists with us, and they open for those artists.
That's awesome.
And so it's always going to be the independent artist in mind. Yeah. And so whenever we do bring a national act, it's because we have the resources to do that, and then we want to get these indies in front of that. You know what I mean? So I guess the answer would be independent artists is our main focus. And that's important. Yep, for that's sure. Really 1,000%. Because
they're the ones who really, you know, they're the ones working for the opportunities. Yep. And everybody deserves a chance. Everybody deserves an opportunity to see if they're really about that life. Because, you know, if you get an opportunity to hit a big show and a big stage and you have a lot of people, that's really your opportunity to see if you are really with it or not. Like to see if you're really built for this or not, you know? Exactly. I know when I was young in the game, man, I was with a group called Crush Game, and we had opened up they had brought Famous Dex out to Blue William Sports Complex. Yeah. This is when Famous Dex was just blowing up, you know what I mean? Right. And they had a whole bunch of artists who were up and coming open for him. We were one of the artists who were able to open for him, and let me tell you, we bombed that show so bad. We performed a song we had just wrote and recorded the day before. Wow. And we tried to perform it, and it was terrible. It came out terrible. The whole start of the show started great. We had the whole crowd jumping, this, that, and the other. Once we went to that song, went terribly. And we realized we were not as ready as we thought we were. You know what I mean? But it's always good to get that humbling experience, to be able to really get up there in front of a big crowd of people. Because, you know, a lot of shows and promotions and stuff like that, it's just artists in the building, and they have small venues and stuff. And you know, the venue doesn't always matter. It's more or less the event that's being thrown to me. For sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. And if it's a promoter who's just focused on bringing the artist into the building to get their money for their performance, and then the artists get to leave and they don't really get anything from it besides maybe networking with others, I don't really see it being worth it for too long, you know? But if it's an opportunity that you're really able to get in front of people and perform and do something that matters, you know, it's a different experience, you know? So the artists who are on these shows, you know, are they getting paid, or do they gotta pay?
So for our shows, I can't wait, because in about a month we're going to have a graphic we're going to put out that says, here's what we paid the artist this year. The number's going to be pretty high, because everybody that we worked with, I want to say this year, probably 90% got paid for sure.
That's awesome.
If not almost closer to 100%. Because that's the part, like I said, that's our goal. Yeah. You know, artists have to pay for everything. They're not the bank. That's why people go to the labels, right? Because the label is, some say they're the bank, right? You go to the label, they're going to have the money, and you kind of just want to get that money to get your music out there. You know, we don't want to be the label. We want to be able to allow artists to be independent. So that's why we have the agency. But that's the goal, man, to get them money, you know, because if they don't have the money in their pocket, how can they still do what they do? You know, a lot of the artists that we know, super talented, man. And they're working at stores or they're working locally. And, you know, I hit them up like, yo, I got this show on Saturday. Oh, man, I got to check my schedule. I'm like, it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? Like these artists that are at a different level with their talent, they shouldn't have to be doing these side jobs. You know? They should be able to do it full time. Now, there's a lot there. I'm saying a lot there, of course. But our goal for sure, pay the artists. You know? We gotta get a shirt that says that, man.
Pay the artist.
Pay the artist.
Brand it.
Yes.
Brand it.
Exactly.
Stamp.
And it is important, but I also feel like some of the artists they're not ready for that though. And
for sure.
But you also said about your vetting process, and that's where you're ensuring that the artists that you're dealing with are ready for that type of thing. Because, I mean, do you want to really deal with a lot of artists who can't really bring any value to the show? You know, as far as like, can they sell tickets? Like, do these type of things matter to you? Can they sell tickets, or you know? That's
huge. I mean, because if an artist can show that they've sold tickets, they have fans that are coming to pay money to see them. Like we know in the music business, doing shows is where you're gonna make most of your money. We got national acts calling us like, yo, can you get me some money? I need to do a show, because they depend on that. And these artists that we're talking about, they've been established. You know, they look like they're doing great. But you never know where people are at. You know what I mean? And I think for these artists that are independent, to show that they have people buying tickets to see them is data they can present back when they go to these deals. Because the goal is not just do a show here or there, but to get to the point where you're full-time doing this. In order to be sustaining as a business, as an artist, you have to show that data. And if you're not doing that, you're just doing music, which is cool. You know, you can do that. But if you want to make this a career, that's super important. And for us, we want to see that, because of course, that's how we can do a great show. We can put on a great production, and we want artists to sell tickets because of that reason, but also because of the business. You know, you gotta have some skin in the game, because as a show producer or a promoter, whatever you want to call it, the risk is on us, right? Like we get the venue, we put the money up, we do all of that. And if you just want to perform and not worry about selling tickets, then you're putting all that risk on me. And do I really want to go in business with you if you don't want to at least sell 20 or 30 tickets, you know, to get people to come see you? But it's super important. Even when I was doing management with artists, I would tell them, like, you got to sell tickets. Don't be afraid to do that. Some people say, I'll just pay the fee to go perform. No, you're not. You're not doing the work. You're not putting the effort in at this point, right? Exactly.
Because I mean, are you trying to pay the fee on every show, or are you trying to get paid? Like these are the little things we gotta look at. Like, because if you're just willing to pay the fee instead of putting in the work to sell the tickets, especially if you're selling tickets to a show with a bigger artist on the show, like say like for Rotimi, right? Rotimi, right? So say for that show, you're one of the opening artists on that show. You have that name to be like, yo, I'm on this show. You're not just selling yourself at this point. Now you're selling the show, and you're on the show, which is going to make you look like an even bigger artist because your name's on the ticket.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So and so it makes it easier, these type of opportunities. Now, for the showcase level stuff where it's not really a bigger act, you know, a bigger act in the show, I can get where it can be a little more strugglesome to sell the tickets consistently. Now to start, I can see people are excited, you know, oh yeah, I get to see you perform for the first time. Right. And after that, it's like, unless you're one of those, I have seen some artists who are able to consistently bring people in the building, but, so I want to take it back a little bit. What really sparked, because you said you've been in this about 20 years now, right?
Yeah, man.
What sparked the interest of music? Because you said you started rapping first, or making music.
I did. I was a rapper, man.
Okay, so
I was the white rapper.
Hey, so tell me about the process. Like, tell me about you know, what got you there.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, being a kid, growing up in the '90s, you know, that's the era I grew up in. Middle school, even before middle school. So I'll take it back, man. I was born in Buffalo, New York. So shout out to Buffalo.
Upstate New York, baby. I'm from Accord, Kingston area.
Oh, nice. That's what's up, man. So I was born there, but then moved to Philly, like when I was a kid, like a toddler. My dad was in college when I was born, got a job, moved to Philly. So we're in Philly, and I'm growing up, you know, learning about just life, you know what I'm saying? Then we moved to Atlanta for a couple years. So we're all the way down to Atlanta. My dad went to Georgia Tech for grad school. So we're in Atlanta at the time where Crisscross comes out. And I'm a kid in elementary school. We lived near the mall where they were going with their clothes on backwards and all that. It hit me like, yo, music is it's cool. Like, it just got my attention. It's clothes, it's fashion. The Jordans were out coming out at the time, you know? So getting into that, and me and my brother put like our clothes on backwards, went outside, got to the sidewalk, was like, nah, we're going back inside. We can't do this. But I did a talent show, man, when I was in Atlanta at a camp. I was like 8 years old, and I did Jump. We lip synced it, put our clothes on backwards, performed. I got that feeling at 8 years old to be on a stage, you know, small, with a little group of people. But to be able to do that and see the crowd reaction, because that song was really hot at the time, you know? And to be kids just having fun, it just got my attention. And then I was all in at that point. Then moved back to Philly, and then Snoop came out. All these artists started coming out. So just listening to that music really got me just to fall in love with it, you know? Like, it's just falling in love with hip-hop, you know what I mean? That's really what it came down to. Living in these different cities that had artists that were from there, seeing that happen, seeing these waves kind of come through Philly, moving down to the DMV area in DC. That's kind of where I went to high school and college. Being around Wale, working at a mall with him before he got famous, seeing that whole wave of the DMV. I just was blessed to be in different cities at the right time, seeing these waves happen, and just having my kind of finger in that pulse, you know, being a part of it in a way, you know what I mean? And so just having that love for the music, of course, you know, having myself start writing songs, writing raps, and being like, yo, I can do this too. And then saying, nah, it's kind of hard. It takes effort.
Damn right.
And recording from like a setup in my house where it was like a karaoke machine with a mic to the speaker and the other mic in my hand, and just recording with a cassette before, like, you know, crazy, you know, technology got better. But, you know, that's where I fell in love with it, man, and just kind of continued with it into college. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what brought you more towards the business of the music opposed to the artistry side?
I think seeing that it was possible to do the business side. You know, not everybody is cut out to be the superstar. Like for me, I was always catchy with the words. I'm the cool white guy. Everybody's like, oh, he can rap. Okay. I would get the attention, but it was like I didn't see the money coming in. And over time, just putting, like I said, pouring my time, energy, which was a passion, so I didn't care about that. But then as I got older, it was like, what are we gonna do with this? So I had some friends as I was graduating high school, and I had got some money when I was a kid, got in an accident, got some money, was able to go to college. I was able to afford to go to college, luckily. And so I took that money and said, I'm going to go to school. Could have done anything, but I went to school because I said, you know what? Let's maybe start a label. Like we follow Jay-Z. Like I was saying earlier, that was my favorite artist. So see him come out with his own label, that was ingrained in us. So me and my guys were like, all right, so you're going to college, I rap, you do this, you do that. We kind of had a team. We had this dream that we would put together an actual label. That's when record labels were like the thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I said, I'm gonna go to college and everybody does their thing. And by the time I'm done, I'll have some education on how to do this. We could figure it out, but let me try to take this money I have, not invest in a studio, not invest in this. I almost went to Full Sail, by the way, but I ended up going to business college. But, you know, just seeing that this could be our way out. You know what I mean? Like we come from certain neighborhoods that were like, you know, things happen, let's try to get out of here. And that was the way. And so I started going to college, but then two of my close friends, part of that group, get locked up. Another one lost his life. And so life happens, you know what I mean? But I continued through and got my degree and did marketing, graduated from Towson University in Baltimore. And I said, okay, now what? Like, how am I going to, I still have this passion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went back to doing the music and just started doing music again, trying to figure it out, you know, seeing what could I do with this, and always had that business mind. But it wasn't until later. Until I would say the last 5 years where I said, you know, I can really be behind the scenes and see there's a different way to do this versus being on the stage, being in front of the cameras. Let me get behind the scenes, use everything I learned, and then help these people.
It's a whole different world behind the scenes.
For sure.
Like being in front of the camera opposed to being behind it, it's a whole different world, man.
Yep.
And going from being an artist to being the management or the agency behind the artist, and that's where you really start to see like what goes into this shit, man. It's a lot. You got to put in a lot of efforts, you know. Tell me a little bit about your workload. Like, what is it like, and how are you able to maintain and manage it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's all working at home, so that's really helpful. I still have a full-time job just because we're getting started now, so it allows us to still, I still got to support. So really, it's just making these connections during the day, doing things on the weekend. I don't feel like it's work, you know what I mean? Because it's a passion.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm doing extra time or what have you. It's just a passion. So if I'm jumping on a call, later in the day or later at night, it doesn't really bother me. I really haven't thought about that, but I do see that I'm always working now. You know what I mean? Like I always got something going on because we're trying to find what's next.
Yeah.
We're figuring out what happened just now. How do we, get better? And so me and my team get together every Tuesday. We're a place to meet. We sit down. We talk through things. We envision the future. We talk about current things we're working on. And like I said, any recaps from the previous or just in the past. But like I said, man, I don't feel like work. I feel like I'm doing the thing that I love best, and I really found a niche. And there's some things that we're trying to do, man, that just is different. Like we're really trying to, I can't give you all the sauce, you know what I mean? But I can just say we're trying to do a lot that's different from what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
But bottom line is just, making sure that the quality is just really the most utmost important thing with what we do.
I gotta applaud you on that because I've seen it for myself, the quality of the things that you guys have been able to do. And since you're saying that you're still pretty much in the baby terms with this thing, like you're still goes. Still brand new, and you're doing a hell of a lot of other things that a lot of people ain't. You know what I'm saying? And as far as like a lot of the promotions and creatives or collectives, and groups and labels around here, I see him doing things here and there, but they've also been doing this thing for a long time. For it to be such a short amount of time that you guys have been up and moving, you guys are moving fast at a really fast pace, and the quality is there, man. I can definitely assure that from what I've seen, at least. First things first, you're all over the place, so that's very important, and that's the work that I can definitely see because I'm always seeing new pictures, and you guys are always out everywhere. It's like you gotta
be out there.
And I gotta applaud you because, geez, I couldn't do it. What you guys are doing, I mean, I'm just more of an in the studio guy. We all have our different roles and the different things that we enjoy doing and the different things that we're good at and the different things. When it comes to what you guys do, I gotta give you all the props and applaud because going out to all these different events, I've worn out. Just being in the studio is a lot. Sometimes I enjoy it and I love it, but man, I'm a stick in my lane over here, I'll tell you. I enjoy doing the studio stuff, man. I got to tell you, like, because we were able to be lucky enough to go to a session like last week, and I really felt like I took control of the whole thing, and I feel like I did. I mean,
you pretty much set the tone.
Yeah, for the whole session. It felt really good doing that. Right. So like how you said, you kind of really felt that vibe from where you enjoy it. This doing that last week, really, I was like, wow. This is really what I enjoy is this stuff, the behind the scenes, the songwriting, the production, the pre-production, post-production, mix and master, and beat making, all that is what I really enjoy, and everybody has different lanes, so you have teammates, you have partners that you do this with. How did that connection build, and how were you guys able to come together and connect and create this whole organization?
No, it's good, man. I appreciate you asking that because my guys, man, without them, like, I do a lot because I'm the visionary, I'm the one that's like, man, this is what we're going to do. But my guys, man, they really back me up. And we got Devin Artis from Newport News. My guy is local. He went to NSU.
I feel like I know that name.
I know him too. Did he
singer?
No, he's not a singer.
Was he a personal trainer at one point?
No.
Devin
Artis. I know the name.
I definitely 100% know that name.
Okay.
100% know that name.
Yeah, so he was a banking, kind of in banking, and NSU graduate. So he's been around, so you might know him. But yeah, so I started the agency. I had started the LLC, got everything squared away, had this vision, but it was just me at first. I had got an email address. I got the website.
That guy?
No, it's a Devon.
Okay.
Same name though. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it was just me at first, and Devin and I, we knew each other. We went to the first Something in the Water together. We were
Okay.
like in the front row. We were backstage. It was like the best experience ever. He got to see that, and that's something I've always been around. But he was like, man, this is crazy.
Mhm.
And so you fast forward, I start the agency. I'm like, man, you should come with me, man. Just come to some of the events. And so he just started showing up to every event I was doing. The first one we did, he came out to. The next one we did, he came out to, and it was just like, yo, just come help me. He's like, what does that look like? I'm like, we're going to figure it out as we go, but I know you can help me.
Mhm.
So it's picking him, kind of choosing him for a certain reason. I knew there was
Mhm.
something there.
Mhm.
And then my guy, Will Cruz, he's from the Bronx, New York. He's originally from Dominican Republic. And just he's like the voice. I feel like he's the one that he sells a lot. He's in sales. He could sell you ice in the winter type of thing. You know what I mean? Like he's got that New York swag. And so I knew him. We all go to the same church, by the way. So we had that connection already. And he came to, it was a festival end of the year from Frequency. You guys know Frequency, Virginia, Scotty and them.
I feel like I've heard of
Mhm.
Frequency before.
Yeah,
100%.
they're like a collective. They work with artists. They have a
Yeah.
festival. Forgive me, Scotty. I can't remember the name, but he's got a festival at the end of December, sometime right before Christmas. Will came with me, and he started seeing, this nightlife, and he worked with DJs in New York that were really famous, and he was in that nightlife, and so he's got that experience as well. And I just pulled him aside. I was like, man, you should come join me and Devin. Here's what we're trying to do. And he sat down, thought about it, and was like, yeah, man, let me help you out, And so since then, end of last year, it'll be a year now coming up this end of December, the three of us has just been working together. And since then, that's when you see things go up. So it's important to have that team,
Mhm.
you know?
It is.
And
It is.
and I wasn't sure what the team was going to look like. I didn't know they were sitting right next to me, like we hang out a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I just started thinking like, no, like they can help and do this and he can do that. And then we just started talking about it and it just went up from there.
Yeah, it's super important to have team efforts, man. And I
For
mean,
sure.
we have a team here, and we're young.
Yeah.
We're young, and we're still learning, and we're still going, man. And we're not perfect, not at all, not at
Right.
all. But we're learning as we go. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
I feel like it's learning how to work as a team and to trust your teammates.
Mhm.
Because going through a lot of things in music, I'm sure you've been through a lot of people in your life.
Yeah.
As far as music partners or business partners or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like we all have, traumas can screw you up for the future, sometimes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you got to kind of learn how to get over that.
Yes.
It's kind
Yes,
of learning
indeed.
how to, like, this person isn't that person or this
Yeah.
situation isn't that situation,
No.
and it's building and having that team effort is super important for anything that you're doing. I don't think anything can be built by itself, man.
No.
It can't,
And even me, like they always look at me like, "Oh, they call me face. You're the face of Antidote." I'm like, "No, man. Like, don't let me be the face." In a
man.
joking way, you know what I'm saying?
No, I
but,
know it.
but it's more like, we have to work together. That's
do.
where the success comes in. And they check me just like I check them. Like,
Yep.
and the crazy thing about there's something about three. You know what I mean? Like, when we vote, there's always gonna be two.
Mhm.
Verse one or all three of us.
Mhm.
And so that helps in that aspect, but more so it just feels like it's a perfect blend, the three of us. We're all different. You got white,
Yeah.
black, Dominican, you know what I mean? Like
Damn right.
it's really dope to see that too. But I think just end of the day, the team, like what you're saying, is without it, there's only so far you can go.
Exactly.
And I think that even when we choose who we work with, whether it's other agencies or other entities or artists, it's always like, when we come together, we can make things happen more.
Mhm.
There's only so much I can do, or us as a group, but when we come together, when it's right, when it makes sense,
Yeah.
there's more that we can do together.
Yeah.
So,
Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. There's things that I'm good at and things that I'm not.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm good at creative shit, but selling stuff, I'm a terrible salesman.
Right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm terrible at it because I'm always like, I want you to save money and I want to make sure we're all satisfied with the price and all that. No, like cutthroat
Yeah.
businessmen. I'm gonna charge you this, and this is what you paying. You're not paying, we're not dealing with it. Which
Right.
I can be like that, but I'm more or less like I want to give affordable pricing and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
I'm a terrible salesman though,
Yeah.
But having somebody around who's better at that type of stuff is super
Right.
beneficial because I can make a
Exactly.
great product. I'm just bad at selling it. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yep.
And so having all those different elements of different people who can add different values to whatever it is that you're doing is super important to build.
Yeah.
Like there's always this narrative that's created amongst the music community of I gotta do it by myself. I gotta grind on my own. And no, you don't.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
That's not life. So if life isn't that way, why would anybody feel like a career is supposed to be?
They say it takes a village, you know. They say it takes a village, and that's it.
Look at everybody that's successful in this business. They're not by themselves.
You know,
there's no way you can do it by yourself.
And that's any business. That's anything in life.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'd much rather be with people than be alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just generally speaking.
And it's funny because even those that think that they'd much rather be alone and be around people, once they start having to actually live life, then it goes, wait, I need support.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There's times where I love my personal time.
Yeah.
But not all the time. You know, when it comes to business, shoot, I don't even like to work by myself anymore. A lot of the times, you know, it's boring at this point. You know, so
yeah.
I feel like you get the best work, best anything when it's a collective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't really, I mean, I feel like one person can probably come up with something dope, can create something amazing, but once other people touch it, it becomes even better. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like a dope song that now has a remix with this person, that person, that person. Right. Now that song is even better. What is it? Touch It. Yeah. Busta Rhymes. That immediately brings me to there. Everybody was they was riding to Touch It. Yeah, but then he brought all of these different artists and it made it 10 times better. It's like, man, if only everybody was okay with the idea of we do this together.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the times too, it's like a lot of artists, especially around here, are pretty much doing it by themselves, you know, and a lot of people don't have the teamwork experience because they go into it just pretty much on their own. Maybe they just have themselves, a couple of their homeboys, and an engineer, and that's pretty much all they got. So when a team environment comes around, it might just be hard to trust it because you're just programmed to work on your own. You know what I mean?
True.
But because I know for me that's kind of how it was, because I was doing a lot on my own, even though I was working with different people throughout out the years, but I was doing a lot of things on my own. So it was getting to the point where I'm like, oh no, you know, it was hard to trust people. But then you start to meet people and you realize we all have the same goal. You know, we all have the same passion, the same love for this. Give people chances. You know, giving people chances are super important. You know,
it is very much.
So the artists that you deal with, right? I want to talk about grooming artists. Yeah. So I know that we already said that we have a vetting process, but you know, getting artists into the door, working with you guys at least, there's still things that they may not know.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys help artists, like help groom artists even further in their careers, or is it more or less you're looking for just you kind of got to be ready to mess with us?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like I said, I mean when we see the talent, again, trusting that ear. When it's there's some people that just they don't have that team yet. You know what I mean? We can be part of that team, and I think that's the approach we've taken. And just building a relationship with people. It's not just a transaction. We really like to kind of almost like make it a family atmosphere type of situation. And so any way that we can help, like I'll get on a call just to consult and to help in certain areas and give advice and to share, here's some things that I've seen, or have you thought about this, or, to the point of rollouts on projects, because we can get involved with that. We can do a release event, but what are you thinking about just the release and how you're going to do that? And so we talk about that. There's so many different things, even to the point of life, just having somebody they can talk to. Like I said, the passion is there. And when the passion is there, it's more than just the business side of it. You know what I mean? So
have you guys considered doing label work, or just do you want to keep it strictly just agency work? Yeah,
I mean, we thought about it, but our thing is everything is just case by case basis, right? So there's no long-term commitment when it comes to us. And that helps, especially independent artists and the way the business is now. You can stay independent. You can do that your whole career. And there's a lot of benefits to that, right? So we want to tailor it to those artists and still allow them to be independent. So we'll have an event. We say, hey, here's the details. Here's the date. Can you do it? We would like to offer this to you. Here's what we will offer. They say yes or no. We move forward. We might reach out to them again later. You know what I mean? So that helps us. But but to get back to your question, it's really just the label itself. I don't see us getting to that point. Like I said, I went to college. I had this idea that would be the thing. I feel like this is a better place. We can help a lot more. We're not necessarily on the the point where we're getting artists out of here yet, but that's part of our plan.
Yeah.
You know, we want to build sort of a ship that will propel people out.
And
you know?
that's what's needed. That's what's needed, especially in Virginia, is
For sure.
a system that is helping artists build a foundation for themselves to help bring them to the next level. Like, we do have a lot of collectives, we do have a lot of labels around here, we got a lot of people who are doing things, but they're not necessarily building the bridge. They're just creating opportunities, you know, one and done opportunities for artists. You know, they'll bring in an artist, oh, you can open for this artist. A lot of times you gotta pay them, like the artist gotta pay to be on the show type of thing. And then, you know, they get the artist in front of the people way before the show even opens, but way before the people are even really there. You know, because I've seen firsthand artists of mine who got an open opportunity, and when they went on, there was like nobody there yet, and they had to pay $600. So I'm like, I felt bad because I'm like, dang, this wasn't even worth it, you know. But it's important for the artist to understand too, like, depending on who you're dealing with, you never know what you're gonna get. But I'm happy to see that there's an agency out here who wants to help the artist get to the next level.
For sure.
You know, because that's what Virginia really needs. Everybody feels like we need a big name to come here to really elevate. I don't think that's what we need.
No.
This is what I think we need, is a committed team of people who are interested in seeing the artist progress, not just take from them, who wants to see them progress. Because what we also have to understand is the furthest the artist goes, the more they can make you. Like, you know what I mean? If you're putting an artist on from the jump, and now you're able to help them continue to build, and now you're just their agency, become pretty much their booking agency. You know what I mean? And now you're really getting paid.
When it comes,
go ahead. No, go
when
ahead.
it comes to your vetting process, what would be like the top 5 things that you said you would look for in an artist?
Yeah, no, it's a great question.
Yeah.
The first thing is, you know, quality of music, right? We talked about before the show started, you know, mixing, mastering, you know, the quality of their song. Is it ready to be put out there? Or is this just something you're listening to and working on? You know, that's something that we look for. And then it's, have they performed? You know, we don't want to put them on the stage and it's their first time. That may happen here and there. Depends on the event. Most of the events, we want somebody that already has some experience, because we want the people coming to see these shows come back, right? We don't want them to come and say, oh man, that was kind of corny, that was kind of whack. So we want to make sure that they can perform, they have some experience performing. And then it comes down to, you know, their work ethic. You know, that's important to us as well. If your work ethic is you just want to get on stage because you got people that, you know, you think want to see you, you feel like this is your next step, but you're not really ready yet. You know, you have to put that work in to get to that point. And not to say we won't work with you. There's different capacities. You know, we don't turn things down if we see that first part of the quality is there. We'll work with them to get there, but you got to have that work ethic. And then I guess the next thing would be their presence. You know, social media, that's important as well. We do a lot of marketing through social media. You don't have to have 1 million followers, but are your followers continuing to increase? Are you trying to find new fans? Are you out there? It goes along with work ethic for sure. But if you have a good following and social media is continuing to grow, that shows us a lot too. Again, this is business, right? So we got to see those things.
Does their content matter? The
sure.
type of content?
Oh yeah.
Like me personally, I'm gonna look at somebody who's constantly promoting and doing that artist content for TikTok, Shorts, Reels. You know, because that specific content, I think, as an up and coming artist, is kind of a dire part of your growth. You know, doing those little just in the studio videos, you just creating your song with the dub of the song over your, you know what I mean? Just all that little content, it matters.
That's it.
You know, so that was my question. Does that matter to you?
Oh yeah.
You know,
that'd be the 5th one right there. It kind of goes with social media, right? But I mean, the content is huge. Again, it all kind of trickles in, because if you got that work ethic, you're doing that. Your social media presence is going to continue to grow because you're putting that content out. You know, content is everything, and it doesn't take a lot to do that. If you got a cell phone you got a decent phone with a camera, you can do that all day.
We
look for
you got InShot, you got CapCut, you got all these phone video
AI
editors
that can do
now.
it for you now.
Damn
so
right.
Yeah.
You got to, if you're investing in that and learning those things, it'll show. But for us, it's like when I look at the pages, when I look at, like when somebody says, you know, hey, I want to get on one of your shows, I'm going to their page and I'm looking, right? I'm seeing what is there. And then I'm seeing the level of that content, right? Like not just the music itself, but are you putting things out that will get people's attention? Because that's the level we're looking for too. Like we pay attention to the detail. Why don't you pay attention to that as well? And so if you're making sure that your content is really on point, that it's clean, that it's engaging, whether it's a picture, a post, or whether it's a video, whatever it is it clean? And I went to some recently, and it just wasn't. It was just all over the place. It was like a birthday party here, and it was this. Not to say you can't have a personal approach to it, but it wasn't like cohesive. You know what I mean? And it made me say, well, I don't know how we can really utilize their social media presence or their content to help them get on these shows. You know what I mean?
I
like
understand.
that's a huge piece
my
to it.
personal Instagram page is a mess.
Yeah,
like
you can
my
have
A
that.
Monty personal Instagram is
Right.
a mess. It's just a bunch of random life stuff and
Yeah.
music promo here and there. It's not consistent.
Right, exactly.
As far as like my podcast page, now that's consistent, nothing but content,
Right.
podcast content, consistent content. So I definitely can understand what you mean there.
It's a
as
balance
far as-
though.
yeah. I mean, because for me, I think if you're an artist, you should have an artist page that's like just strictly your music stuff.
Right.
Nothing but it. Like you're not
Yeah.
posting no thoughts on it. You're not posting no what I'm up to unless it's music.
Right.
Like unless what I'm up to is in the studio.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all you post on there is music. And then you have your personal page where you can post whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do think because as an artist, you're a brand. You
Yeah.
know, and you have to brand yourself. You are the product.
Yeah.
You know, and your music is the product, and so you got to make sure you can brand it consistently and make sure your shit's looking right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I definitely
most
can
definitely.
understand that for sure.
Yeah, super important because
Yeah.
I mean that's what we look for.
Yeah.
It's almost like the living business card, you know.
Yeah.
Like, what's your IG? That
Yeah.
tells me everything.
Yeah.
Like
Pretty
I don't
much.
even need your business card. I don't need a website. If you show me your IG and you're doing what you're supposed to, that's all I need.
No.
And then that's gonna
Can't
help
be-
me say I'm gonna book them or not.
You have freaking like 2 pictures up there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
one video, one picture, and like that's always on your Instagram. It's like, all
Right.
right.
But again, if that quality of music is there, we're willing to work with them on that. You know,
Yeah.
give them this advice. We have media guys we get them in touch with. We got different folks that we're close with, so we can help the artists get there. You know, I don't
Yeah.
want to say no. That's a hard no.
Yeah.
But it gives us a good indication of
Yeah.
where they are. You know,
Yeah, because I mean, you have to have some type of foundation, man. And
for sure.
as an artist, like you have to understand that people don't want to invest in you if you don't want to invest in you. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you're not investing in yourself, I'm not investing nothing into you. You know,
Yeah.
and I understand a lot of people may feel that the artists here aren't getting the opportunity. That's because they're not earning it.
right.
Like nothing is deserved, all is earned. You know, in
For sure.
my opinion, all is earned. Like the people who are out here working are the ones getting opportunities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know personally some people who are around me, artists that I work with, who are doing things and things are coming for them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Shout
Yep.
out to Ty Lee. Shout out to my
Right.
boy Ty Lee. We just got on national television, baby.
Yeah.
You feel me? That's
That's
because
what's
he
up.
working though. Bro is working. Like
Yeah.
working. He's
He
on the
is.
move
Yep.
constantly. You know,
Yeah.
and it's giving him opportunity. He was just in the studio with Wale not too long ago. He was on
Nice.
stage with Meek Mill. He was on stage with Wale. He
Yeah.
be working.
That's
You know
what's
what I'm
up.
saying? And so there are the people who are out here putting in that time and effort and that groundwork, that
Yep.
going outside work, that
Right.
you know, those are the people who are getting back. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But if you're out here, you're just making your music, you're putting it out, and then you're just sitting at home not doing shit,
Mhm.
what are you expecting?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to
You
invest
get
in
what
you.
you put in.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's the important thing that artists got to understand, man.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about a little bit about the state of the music industry right now, because you've
Mm-hmm.
been in the game for a minute. So
Yeah.
back in the 90s, boy music and pushing music and everything was way different than it
For
is now.
sure.
Social media.
Yep.
You know, what are your thoughts on the advancement of technology in music, you know, compared to the 90s to now?
Yeah, no, I think there's pros and cons, right? Like there's some things that are really good. Like I wish I had this when I was young, you know, like a
Mhm.
kid coming up, because, you know, like me and my friends always say, we would have went viral many times, you know. But I think that it's just having an understanding of where things are and where they're going, because if you don't know where they're going, you're only going to limit to where you are. You know, like those artists that were coming up back when I was a kid, if they just stuck to that, they're not going anywhere today. And nobody's pulling out a CD. That's not going to work, right? So even where we are now, you got to see what's next. You got to find out what's next because you don't want to get left behind. So I think it's important to do that. But I think where we are now, there's more freedom for artists. You know, like you can really, if you put that work in, like you just said, and you really put that time in and you're using these resources and you have the talent, sky's the limit, like for real. And it's not like you got to wait for that label to get the attention of a label, or you got to wait for somebody to say yes. If you say yes and you go do it, it's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to everybody. Let's be real, right? That doesn't happen to everybody, but it can happen, you know? And I think that right there.
Product's good.
What's that?
If the product's good.
Yes.
If the product is good, it can happen if you push it.
For sure.
You know, especially with still TikTok being super relevant, Reels being super relevant, Shorts being super relevant. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Artists who are blowing up on TikTok. Tommy Richmond is one of them.
Oh, for sure.
His music blew up on TikTok and it got him to #1 in the billboards, got him all over the places. His album just flopped, but I don't.
Oh, he put out. Damn.
It got very low sales.
I'm pretty sure.
However,
and that happened right before we booked him, by the way. And we couldn't book him after the song went viral. You know what I mean? It was just.
But that to me, honestly, album sales today doesn't matter to me. It's because with streaming being so big, it's like I feel like personally, this is just my personal opinion. How can you really calculate the sales unless they're really buying it? Because aren't they calculating streams into sales now? You know, so it's just like.
But what does that encompass? It encompasses a lot. Views on YouTube. Where you gotta look at where it all kind of draws that line.
Yeah.
Some encompass it all, you know, some data, but ultimately sales are still sales, you know.
Yeah.
And I think mainly the streams is what they're looking at.
Yeah.
And so when you combine that with people actually physical copies, like vinyl is back now, you know.
Yes.
So I think that's great for the art of music, you know, to own a piece of it.
Yeah.
Again, coming from the era I come from, you know, that was important to have a piece of that versus just digitally listening and then you put it away. You don't have it.
What about NFTs? How do you feel about NFTs incorporation into music?
I don't know. I don't think it's where it was a few years ago.
I can agree 100% because I was super intrigued a few years ago. Now,
it's just I don't know if it was able to be sustained. You know, like I don't know if everybody really understood it right away. I mean, I don't want to say they understood it. People got it. They understood what the concept was, but again, where are you going to go with it from there?
And how you're going to get it and all of that. Yeah, it was a pretty. You had to do a lot to get. Yeah, you know.
It might come back though. I think things like that may be a little bit ahead of their time. You know.
See, because I think the incorporation of NFTs into music, it can be incorporated like this. You buy the NFT from the artist, and now you have full access to any and everything they do, as far as shows, concerts, maybe private content, album sales. You know, you get early access. You get it maybe a couple weeks early or something. You know, it's learning how to utilize the NFT in the music industry to really boost the profits and to, because you got to think like these are people who they're gonna have to spend, like for Tory Lanez, when Tory Lanez did his NFT project, he made a lot of money, right? You know what I'm saying? Because he did it right though. He utilized
that platform.
He does, yes, but like I said, but just like what he did, I felt like was a right way to utilize the NFT. Sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for other artists not to really like catch on to that type of model and to build a bigger model from that, I felt like it was a miss ball, man. It was a miss, and because I feel like NFTs could have really been effective in the music industry, and I still think they can. Yeah. I think you were right though; they were above and way before their time. Yeah, I feel like people just didn't understand what they could be. For sure. You know, some people understood it and some companies started using them. I think there was a cruise company who started selling NFTs for, I don't know. There was a bunch of stuff, but they can be utilized to really like create value for somebody, for an artist, especially, you know? So how do you feel about AI technology in music?
Well, it depends how you use it, right? If you're creating a new song strictly from AI, there's little creativity. We talked about writing, right? Like I asked you guys earlier, do you write? Did you write the song? That's super important, you know, for me, especially, you know, remember the era I came up in, you had to be the hottest. You had to talk about what you lived and you had to write it yourself. We talked about who doesn't. You know, Nas wrote some songs for Will Smith, right? That didn't mean he wasn't a great artist. It just meant that he wasn't the one writing it. And some kind of looked at that a different way. Today, that's not a problem nowadays, right? We see Drake. We see a lot of people very successful.
Depends on what you talk about, though.
For sure.
Real hip-hop heads, they ain't going for that shit.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
they're not.
But I'm saying there are people that
that's
go
the thing
for it.
too,
They're
though,
okay with it.
because I don't want to say. I feel like music in general, not even just hip hop, even if it's an R&B song. Don't get me wrong. I feel like it's a little bit more, a lot more acceptable if you're singing an R&B song that somebody else wrote. But at the same time, I still feel like it's still very important for you to write your own.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on the music. Cause like let's look at like a hip hop pop song, like All the Stars, Kendrick Lamar and whatever that girl's name is, right? That to me, if Kendrick didn't write his own verse on that, I wouldn't have had an issue with it. But now if we're talking about a They Not Like Us record, no, you need to write, that has to be self-written.
See,
that
but
has
that's
to be,
the thing.
now you're talking about, because
It's
there's
personal.
pop hip hop and like rap hip hop are different things now. Like rap hip hop, I feel like if you're trying to be a rapper, other real hip hop enthusiasts and rappers are gonna look at, are you writing your own stuff?
But I feel like
Drake's
that
an entertainer.
I feel
So
like that
think,
waters down other genres though, because that means that hip hop doesn't get the privilege of, hey, he wrote this.
Yeah.
He's gonna be looked at as be looked at sideways.
But I feel like
but when you go to pop, you saying, oh, if Kendrick didn't write it, then I was okay with it. That's still kind of weird to me, because I look at Kendrick as being the artist. He better write everything that he's spitting.
no, and I can agree, but I'm saying like for a song like that wasn't a rap record. That was a pop hip hop record. Like that wasn't, because when it comes to like strict rap, like this is just because I think it's all subjective. Everybody has their own opinions on this stuff, right? Yeah. I think for me, when it comes to like rap in the culture of rap, I personally feel like you should be writing your own music. Like if we're going back to especially like early, like late 90s hip hop, early 2000s hip hop, like no, I'm just gonna say 90s. I want to stick to 90s hip hop right now. Yeah, because I know even NWO, Q was writing a lot of the music. They weren't even really, Eazy-E wasn't really writing his stuff.
NWA.
You know, NW. What did I say? NWO.
Yeah, he said NWO, but I knew what he meant.
I'm thinking NWO. I'm sorry.
NWA.
Yeah, big wrestling head. Sorry.
Attitude.
Yeah, but Q was writing a lot of that music. You know, Eazy-E wasn't. So. Sure. I mean, it goes back, but still, like, for me personally, when it comes to hip-hop rap, I still think whoever is rapping it should be the one writing it or spitting it.
But that's even that, like, Eazy-E's not on nobody's top 5 list.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't look at him as the MC. Like, he was an artist.
Yeah.
And so I think it's been examples of that. But, you know, getting back to the AI, it's just when you just literally type in something and let it do its thing, and out comes a song. That's not creativity to me, you know. No. It's a computerized thing. Yeah. And you said auto-tune. You know, there was a time when auto-tune was like, don't even mess with your voice. Yeah. Like Jay put a whole song out about that. Yeah. Death of auto-tune. He didn't really kill it, but he kind of put his point out there. And I think, you know, you get to that crossing lines. Like if we're just doing things that are generated and we don't have the intelligence, then we are losing a piece of creativity that we really should be utilizing. And if you're not utilizing that, to me, you're not an artist. Yeah. You're just somebody that anybody can do that. My son could do that. Kindergarten, he can do that. He can type something or say it, and it spits out. Like, that's not really creative. Yeah, you know. And I think that's, we as artists, or, you know, I say we because I'm still an artist. I still curate. You know. Yeah. You have to keep that. If you don't own that piece of it, and you're just putting something out, or, you know, you're not owning it and you're not putting that time in, there's no value to it. I'm not going to sell that. I'm not going to buy it. Yeah. But I can't sell that either. Yeah. You know, it's somebody else's. It's not ours.
Yeah, it's AI manufactured.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Music to me is about feeling. It's about emotion. It's about feeling. Yep. If I'm making music, a lot of the times I like to make music about what I'm going through. Exactly. Or things that I'm dealing with, things that I feel like other people can relate to. Yep. You know, things that I'm like, you know, life happens for all of us and we all go through the same things at different times in our lives, you know? So at some point somebody can relate. And so if the music is not relatable, or you can tell that there's no feeling or emotion in the music, right. And a lot of like the AI songs that I've heard, like during the whole diss battle with Drake and Kendrick, there was a lot of AI songs being thrown around, a lot. you know, and you can kind of tell the difference where the AI, they're very smart and very good with the words. I gotta give them this. Like, some of the songs I have heard are pretty solid.
Drake
but
should have said that.
that's what I'm like, you know. But at the same time, you can kind of tell, like, this is robotic. It's manufactured, and for me, with any music in the industry, if it sounds manufactured and it sounds robotic, I don't really care for it. Like a lot of, I've said it before, a lot of like pop music, a lot of pop R&B pop music, I feel like sounds manufactured nowadays. And I don't like it. I like more emotional sounding music. People were really like, you can feel them in their music. And I'm not against auto-tune, but I'm not a robotic auto-tune type of person. I don't like to crank that shit all the way up. You know, I like to put it to where it's touching the vocal, not taking it over. You know what I mean? Touching it up, not taking it over. So I definitely can understand the auto-tune part of that. You know?
But I mean, but real quick, AI for business purposes, that's a great tool.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, in the music business, there's ways to use it.
Oh, yeah.
When we come down to like making songs, it's like, come on, man.
like, so, like me personally, I use AI to do the clipping for the podcast now. All the video clipping. For sure. That saves me a ton of time.
Exactly.
Now, it might take the personalization away from the videos that I used to put in, but that's really the only con that I found from it. All the pros are, I get a hell of a lot more content out now because I use one website to clip it all for me. I don't have to take 5-6 hours in a day to do all of it now. I take 20 minutes, I set it up, I upload it, it clips it all for me, and it's getting better and better. So for certain things, using AI chatbots to write up contracts. Dang right.
What's something that you personally use AI for the most when it comes to the business aspect?
So for me, it's like building templates, like you talked about, contracts. Sometimes the language, if I want to see what that language looked like, it's usually a starting point for me. Then I go through it, add my pieces, and really make it strong. But it saves tremendous amount of time. Sometimes proposals, same thing, build a template. I was doing a proposal, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to lock myself in a room for like a weekend and try to knock this out. And then shout out to my guy Willie Will, Antidote. He was like, man, you know, I've been using ChatGPT. Why don't you try that? So I started out, and same thing. In like 15 minutes, I'm like, whoa, I got the whole template ready. Now, again, if you're smart enough, you're going to go through it, and you're going to make it yours and personalize it. And it's a good starting point. That's for me. I wouldn't take that and send it. But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that goes back to like college and school in general. When it comes to plagiarism, you automatically know I cannot just have ChatGPT spit this out and me give it to my professor and pass. So let me go in here and tweak a few words, make it sound a little bit more personal. I feel like that maybe school was trying to prep us for that in the first place.
Critical thinking,
right?
You gotta be critical thinking.
I love using AI for the business side of things. It does make life a lot easier because I know even on because I use Opus Clip. I'm not a gatekeeper. I love to tell people, you know, give them the gems if I can. I use Opus Clip, and they also have a calendar section to where you can schedule everything.
Nice.
So again, I take 30 minutes out of my day. And I'm able to schedule everything. But the only thing that I really have to do with that is go into, because they even do the captions, they do the hashtags, they do everything for you. But if they don't know the name of who's speaking, they're just going to put something like speaker one. But that's where you have to go and you have to make some changes. So we use it as a template, but then you're able to just make these changes, personalize it a little bit more. And you can definitely use it to save the day because, especially with, like you were saying, proposals, contracts, all that type of stuff. Heck yeah, ChatGPT is my best friend with that type of stuff. The only time with music now that I'm using AI is if I need, so I have some Unison has these AI generators as far as they have a drum, they have the drum monkey, they have the MIDI wizard, and they have the bass dragon. And they're all just like, they're like AI generators for drums. MIDIs.
Nice.
And I was actually just messing with something earlier, and I was using the wizard MIDI wizard, and I created chords because like when it comes to creating chords, sometimes I can struggle with them. But if I can get an idea, I can change it, flip it, and all that. So if you're gonna use AI in your music, use it to help you create your own like use it to just really help guide you through guiding you through starting up your song and to give you your ideas and tweak it to make it your own, you know what I mean? And I like using stuff like that because it does help, especially in production. but we still have to make sure that we're putting our feel into it.
Yeah,
It can't
because
just all
the
be
computer
robotic.
doesn't have feelings.
Exactly.
You know, like when you're doing like working on cars, right? For example,
Yeah.
if AI can do that, fine. You know, it's mechanics.
Yeah.
But with us, with creatives and creating things and music and emotion, that can't come out from a computer, right?
Exactly.
So you said that too, and I think that's the thing we got to continue to own.
Yeah.
You know, our emotions are real. We can connect with each other, and that's where music comes.
Yeah.
You know, into that. And I think about times when I'm listening to albums, and you got to put your headphones on for certain albums, right? Like
Yeah.
Life After Death by Biggie. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
just messing with you.
Yes,
But
sir.
you know, listening to that with headphones on, right? The emotion, the stories, the storytelling, like there's no computer that can do that. Like,
No.
yeah, it could maybe come out in a certain way. It's not going to touch you the same way.
Yeah. I think because they have like the AI lyric generators now.
Yeah.
They can be helpful with helping coming up with lines. I will
Right.
say this because they have I don't remember what it's called, Lyric Sync or some crap like that, where it's definitely useful if like because me I get like if you get writer's block, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you get stuck on a line, you're able to type in the line that you got and it'll generate a whole bunch of different lines.
Yeah.
I think using it to help you is okay. Not to write your whole song though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for
Using
sure.
AI to help assist you is one thing, but helping you but letting AI make all your stuff is a whole different
So you just
Oh, yeah.
reiterated the same
yeah.
statement
Sorry, it'd be
5
like
different times.
that. My bad.
No,
bad.
he's got it. He's showing you the emotion.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Because I'm passionate about it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It's
He's not a computer.
exactly
Right? At
Feel
least
me?
we know you're human.
I try to be.
That is my favorite phrase.
So I
at
want to
work.
talk about nowadays it's all about the streaming, you know, opposed to back then it was all about record sales. How do you feel about this adjustment? Like, are you okay with the big shift in music these days to where it's all about streaming and not really about record sales anymore like it used to be? Like it is about record sales, but it's more people streaming than buying records.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think it just
Nobody buys
the
albums
consumption
anymore.
of music has changed, you know. So, you know, like I've seen all the gambit, so I was lucky to see it all. But the difference now is it's easier for the listener to just tune in with whatever streaming device on their phone, and they listen to the albums, and you know, so there's the piece of where it's easier for the consumer. The downside is there's not really a real investment, you know, like. Again, when I was a kid, I was physically going to the store, picking it up. I had to go out of my day, go get it. I had no car. I was a kid, you know what I mean? I had to find a way to get there. I had to find money to get, you know, to be able to even buy it, you know what I mean? And so it was a real investment. And that's why we talk about the emotion. Like there's an emotional attachment to some of these records because I had to go find the money, go to the store and get it. So that's not there anymore. But I don't think people aren't as passionate about the music anymore. I think that's always going to be there. It's just how can we get those passionate fans what they want and how do we get it to them? If it's just streaming, okay. But when we're seeing, like I said, the record, the vinyls being sold, like if you guys know Griselda out of Buffalo,
Yeah.
you got Conway the Machine, Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun. Like I feel like they really got that vinyl thing really going because they put real artwork behind it. You know, they have their meet and greets and people bring those vinyls and they want them autographed.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. Nobody's going to play that vinyl though. They're just going to put it
They
up
just want to store
and they
it.
want to hang
They
it
just
up
wanna
or
hang
put
it
it
up,
and
yeah.
say, I got it. But that's a piece that I think is important. You know, you're buying something, you're investing in it.
How many people
The
even have
vinyl
something to
machines
play
are
a
actually
vinyl with?
making a
I
bit
know,
of
exactly.
vinyl machines are making a bit of a comeback though.
They
I
are,
mean, I know
yeah.
because a few years ago, my brother actually,
Yeah.
he had bought a vinyl machine out of wherever, some type of hip store. I don't know, like
Mhm.
Spencer's or some crap. But he had bought a vinyl machine. He ended up buying a whole bunch of vinyl records just to
Yeah.
play on it. And
Yeah, yeah.
There's
vinyls just play different. Like
There's
they
sure.
actually
sound different.
It
a
does.
local vinyl shop in Newport News, Vinny's Vinyls.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I
like
know
it.
what you're talking about. Yeah, I know.
I
what you're
really
talking
like
about.
it.
Uptown.
And there's Freshtopia nearby too. I think
Oh, okay.
Norfolk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a DJ on the radio. He's got a record store now.
Yeah, I mean, because I think as an artist, that's like definitely a goal to have. Like, if you're doing an album, to have like a whole blown up vinyl of your album
Yeah.
is
Oh, that would
definitely
be
something
dope.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
good memento to have
For
for
sure.
sure. Like,
I think everybody's doing it now. Like Kanye's new album, I guess he's coming out with. He's got a vinyl
Mhm.
for sale. And then the merch, you know. But for me, it's like the feeling, the real feeling. Again, we're going back to what we do is the shows. You
Yeah.
know? Like that's where you get that feeling when you're there in person. You know, if an artist is doing their job on the stage, they're connecting with the crowd. you're going to leave like, whatever they put out, I'm going to support it.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to support artists. And I think when people are into music and they're really associated with it or attached or whatever you want to call it, then they're going to, go all about it. And whether it's merchandise, whether it's the shows, whatever it may be, they're going to support that artist. And I think that has to continue. We got to find new ways to do that as the business changes and shifts in different ways. But as long as that's there, the artist is going to continue to do great or thrive, in the way they should.
What about the consolidation of record labels these days? Do you feel like that's going to be, is that scary to you, seeing how they're all starting to kind of crumble down and fall into one?
I think that's just the nature of where the business is, like we're seeing that with retail stores, right? Because you got Amazon and Rite Aids are done, all these different stores are shutting down. Toys R Us a few years back,
Toys R Us is making a comeback, you guys.
Yeah, airports, I think. Yeah. That's what they said.
For real?
Airports, yeah.
But in airports?
Because, you
great Christmas gifts.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's just business, right? That's just how it goes. And I think you got to be able to shift and transition. But to me, that shows the powers with the artist. And that's why our business model is the way it is, because we want to empower the artist. We call ourselves artist advocates. Like, that's our tagline. And we're going to trademark that. Don't take that, nobody. But, that's what we advocate for, right? The artists. And so for them, they have the power in a sense. And as long as the artist has the power, it's no more, in the dark days when it was like the label had all the power and they could take advantage of the artists and people were signing their life away. Like, we don't see that anymore. Yeah. By all means, like, we don't need that anymore. Yeah. Now, again, there's some advantages, and if you can find ways to work out a deal that makes sense, keeping your ownership, having control, if they're not willing to do that and they're just saying, hey, we're putting all this money up and you can get all this money, that deal isn't really the best for you. Now, it might be. You might be able to do well with it. But I think that the old structure of label is just not going to thrive anymore. I mean, there's always going to be somebody coming out of a tough place that just needs money. Yeah. But don't sell yourself short. If you really believe in yourself and if you can push through another year, maybe a few months, you don't know when that one song is going to take off and then you're in control. I think that's the best part about the business now. And I wish I had that when I was young, man. Like I said, it would have been a good spot.
Yeah, the business is definitely a lot different now. It's definitely more indie artist accessible because you really don't even need a label anymore.
Right, exactly.
I know I recently just saw, now I don't know how true this is, but I did just recently saw this video. This guy was talking about how a lot of the streaming websites, they're about to start, they're talking about trying to adjust, because right now artists get paid $1 off of every album sale or whatever it is, and they're looking to take that access away from the independent artists and only make it accessible for labels. I don't know if you heard about anything like that.
I haven't.
Like I said, don't hold my word to it. I don't know if it's true or not. Yeah. It's just this dude he's like a manager or something. He's been in the industry for a long time. I've just followed him for like years, but I just saw him talking about it the other day. Yeah. About how a lot of the streaming platforms are going to try to take accessibility away from the independent artist. Hearing that, if that were to happen, how would that affect you? How does that make you feel? Like, I
mean, it's terrible. It's just, again, the label is trying to be in control. Yeah.
I feel like that's where all the independent artists need to get together and create their own kind of platform. Honestly, an independent platform. Because if we think about it, all of these bigger streaming services, of course, are going to go with the bigger labels that are going to pay them the bigger bucks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's opportunity though. I always look at it, glass half full. Yeah. It's like for example, for us, it would open a great opportunity, for us to step in, maybe not do a streaming service, maybe one day, but again, focus on what we can do is the shows and getting these artists out there doing different things. Yeah. I don't think YouTube is going to stop. They're not going to just focus on a label. So there's a tool there. TikTok is still around. Utilizing the tools that you do have. I don't know if an independent artist makes a lot of money off streaming. I don't know. I mean, the ones that we talk to mostly don't make a lot of money there. They're not getting big checks, Yeah. There are some, producers that we know that do well because they get that placement, it gets on the proper album or what have you with the well-known artists, and they get checks. But again, that's long-term money. Yeah. For an artist that needs money right now, the streaming is not the way to go anyway. You know what I mean? So you got to find innovative ways. And so for us, we just find new ways to get artists an opportunity to make that money and to be able to continue to do what they do, man. Like I said.
Yeah. I mean, a big part of it is the willingness, as
Yeah.
the artist to be able to go out, because street team is still a real thing. And
For sure.
It's still a very important part of any aspect of any artist's career, is having that street presence, not street presence in a negative way, street presence as far as you put yourself out there, you're selling products, you're on the streets, we don't do the CDs anymore. I really don't
Passing
think
out
so.
mixtapes.
But
Yeah,
there's other things that we can do,
Yeah.
there's I was talking about this a while ago, is just doing like digital albums, digital,
Mhm.
like you have the album, because you can make a website, right?
Yeah,
And you can
exactly.
have your album on that website, strictly only that website.
Draw
And you
traffic,
can be,
yeah.
you have a scan code, and you just, you scan this, it'll take you to the website, and then you can purchase the album right there.
Yep.
But it's just simple stuff like that.
Innovative.
You
bro.
know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things that we can do, and it's just the willingness to do it,
Right.
because you do a lot, man. You're all over the place. How are you able to maintain and just continue to go?
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, the passion drives me, but man, for real, to be honest, is family, close friends, my guys, my team.
Yeah.
I think, God, just having that faith, what I'm saying, knowing that he's there, that helps me a lot. But yeah, definitely just the passion, man. Like,
Yeah.
again, I don't feel like it's work, man. That's what I was telling my cousin the other day. I was just sharing with him. He was like, man, I seen what you're doing out there, and you're doing all these shows and all this stuff. And I said, yeah, man, I love it. It's like, it doesn't feel like work. And he's like, yeah, that's why you're doing what you love, and that's what you should be doing.
Exactly.
And it just was the reminder, because you hear that, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But when you're in that situation and you finally are there where you're the one feeling that and doing that, it's like, oh, this does make sense.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't drain me. Like I don't feel drained at the end of the day. Hopefully I'm not getting lack of sleep, but I mean I'm going to bed late, waking up early,
Yeah.
and I'm feeling fine.
Same.
Yeah,
Story of my life, dude.
Exactly.
Go to sleep at like 2 in the morning, wake up at 6.
But that's where the health comes in. You
Yeah.
got to stay mentally and physically.
Yeah.
Like for me, going back to the gym,
Mm.
that's something I've been doing a lot lately.
Yeah.
Changing my diet, eating habits, because working late, getting up early, you got to have a good regiment. Without
Yeah.
that, you're just going to deteriorate over time. So
Yeah.
there's that, plus the mental aspect where it's just getting the right people around you, having people you can talk to, be able to share what's going on, and have those conversations when you need to. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah.
You said mental health, man. Mental health is a very, very important thing
Mhm.
to me personally. Maintaining a solid mental state.
Yeah, because this man is off his rockers. Nah.
Mm.
No, I can be. I mean, she'll tell you I can be. I can overstress myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can overthink, and I can just like really stress myself out for absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
When it comes to my business and she'll tell you, this is my baby.
Yeah.
This whole podcast and everything that I do with all this, the whole station, all this is just my baby.
For sure.
So when it comes to it, I can overstress myself.
Yeah.
And that's where mental health is just strong. It's got to be strong. You got to be able to do things to maintain just peace within yourself. You know what I mean? And that's super important. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure having your family behind you, is
Mhm.
definitely a good motivational factor to keep going.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
I want to talk about the future, because we're getting close to the end here. I want to talk about the future of Antidote Agency. Where do you want to take it? Where do you want to take the company?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. You kind of reminded me, we're still in the infancy, So
Yeah.
it's just crazy to be able to do what we've been able to do. But yeah, man, like we definitely have a lot of plans. Like I said, top of the year, we got a big concert we're bringing here in Virginia Beach, and I'll be able to announce that pretty soon, probably just around Thanksgiving. So bringing some well-known artists here, as well as getting these independent artists an opportunity, like I said, but in a different way. We're trying to think outside the box. And so I'm not going to, like I said, I don't want to give all the details. I don't want to somebody steal it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you guys,
No.
but just,
I understand.
different ways to help these artists. At the end of the day, we got to find where's the money at, right? Get these artists in front of it. We talked about mental health. I think morale, that's what we're trying to push.
Yes.
Artists help with morale.
Yes.
And fill in the blank where that can go. And so that's where we're trying to take it. That was part of the initial idea, but we knew that's going to take a little bit more time.
Yeah.
So we're kind of proving the concept of we know what it takes to put on a show, and then we're going to take these shows in different places, in different doors that I don't think anybody else has been able to do.
Yeah.
Also, we want to do things for artists like NIL deal type of things, like when artists are at a certain point, we're talking to one recently, they're going to get a brand deal with a well-known beverage company,
Wow.
and things like that they're doing for the athletes. But let's be real, the athletes, yes, there's certain things that they can do. Entertainers, it's like the ceiling is crazy. Mm-hmm. An athlete, they're kind of in a box, right?
Yeah.
There's sort of they can do but so much, and that's what they do. Now, an artist, you open so many doors, and so we're trying to get our artists and the artists we work with in the near future opportunities where they can have long-term deals with brands that make sense, whether it's on a small scale, starting local with local brands.
Yeah.
But again, bringing it back to getting money in their pockets so they can continue to do what they do.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that we're working on along with these shows. We're going to continue to do shows, of course. But those are the big things that we're excited about right now.
Yeah, man, and it sounds like you guys are doing it, and I have full faith and full belief that you will too.
No, really.
For sure. I appreciate it,
Definitely following. I'm watching.
Yes.
What's some advice that you can give to other people in the industry? Firstly, the artists. What is some advice you can give to the artists? Yeah,
no, I would say, first off, continue to hone in on your craft. Like we talked a lot about it here. Watch this whole show. No, I'm just kidding. But no, for real. Like I think there's a lot there that we touched on. But honing in on your craft is where it all starts. Like you can only go so far with the talent you have. But if you focus and you work hard at that talent, you can get better. Like it doesn't mean you can only go that far.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a singer, there's only so much your voice can do. But still, getting better and continue to get better. Yeah. That's regardless. That's across the board, right? Yeah. No matter what you do. Yeah. But as an artist, you got to get better. Also, being willing to shift in different directions. Almost being able to go different places and not just stick to what you know.
Being adjustable.
Being adaptable. That's what I was trying to think of that word. Being adaptable is really going to help. Yeah. Because you're able to adjust whether the business changes, whether the landscape changes, or whether new opportunities come your way. You're ready to adapt and get into that environment as well, and not just sticking to what you know. Yeah. Like you said, you stick to the studio, which is great. That's a great thing. But there's times you got to step out of that studio. You know what I mean? 100%. Or you're only going to go so far. You're so 100% right. Just being willing to do that and always willingness to try something different, I think is super important, because if you're only going to do what you think is going to work, that may not work. It may not go where you want it to go. 100% right. But try things, be different, think outside the box, and like I said, from that point, it's just a matter of time. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I know for me, stepping out for me is now like I got a mobile setup for the podcast station, nice. And now I'm starting to bring it out because I want to bring it. I want to start getting it out there outside. More. Just going to events, setting up on the side somewhere, and just doing interviews right there and then with whoever wants to come over. Nice. and that to me was a big step doing that, and I've been enjoying doing it. I'm doing one Monday. Nice. I'm gonna go to the roller rink, and they got something going on for the community over there, and I'm gonna bring the station out. Doing that type of stuff is definitely a lot of fun. And it's getting out, because you're 100% right, and I agree with you 100%. Me being stuck in the studio isn't good at all. Not for me. If I want to grow, it only can get me but so far, and it's now getting out. For sure. Because you gotta move, man. You gotta move and groove, because that's it.
Use it or lose it.
Use it or lose it. And now, what's advice that you can give to the business minded, to the ones who are on the business side, managers, maybe agency people like you, A&Rs? What's some advice you can give to them? Yeah, no, I think just stepping outside the box, like I said, but taking that leap of faith. Like when you have an idea, like for this was an idea I sat on for almost a year, and just like, how do we do it? Then you just got to do it. You can't just sit on the idea. It's like a song. You can't just sit on that song. Try it out. See if it works. And so for business, the same thing. Like you got to step out and just try it out. Whatever business that may be. But especially the creative industry. We need more people doing this type of thing. We need more people that have this mindset that you guys have, that we strive to have and to continue to get better at. But having that mindset that we're always willing to help,
and we're always trying to put people in the right position to succeed.
Yeah.
And put on dope events, not just some mediocre, you know what I mean? So, but you know, any business, you got to have that step out and just get out there and do it.
Yeah.
To me, it's been a roller coaster, to be honest. There's times where we feel like, man, we're doing so great. And then you get right down here like, man, what's up? What's next?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing happening next. We gotta figure it out. But as a business owner, you know that you're gonna have those moments and just continue to stay. The common ground is knowing that you got a horizon you're going after. You know, you're not going for the up and downs. You're not stopping when you hit the bottom. You got to get back up and keep going because you're going that way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have that mindset too.
Damn right, because it's gonna be like an upward slope, but it's gonna go up and
sure.
down. But as long as it keeps going upward,
yep,
you're making progression. Because obstacles are just gonna happen. And
oh yeah,
life hits.
For sure.
Life hits everybody, man.
Yep.
But I know for me, this business, personally, the music, the entertainment, it's a lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's all or nothing. Yeah. If you're not gonna put everything into it, you're not gonna get anywhere with it. You know what I mean?
A life without obstacles, it's like it's no room.
It'd be boring.
Right,
there's no
exactly.
room for growth. It's like,
boring,
how are you growing? What are you learning if there's no obstacles?
What about a roller coaster that just goes straight? That's not a roller
like,
coaster.
Don't got no loop.
You gotta go upside down sometimes.
Yeah, man. We don't. You know.
It's the thrill. Yeah.
No, really.
And that's it. And that's the beauty of it, man. It's not even about the destination. It's just about the journey.
Yeah,
like a lot of the times, it's about the journey. You know, it's. And if you don't struggle, you're never gonna know how to live life for real. You know, it's like everything in life. And shoot, that's a fear I always have. Like, is like not knowing enough about life because I haven't struggled enough.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't feel like you necessarily have to go through the worst struggles in life, but you gotta struggle somehow.
You can learn from other people's struggles.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I also feel like you're never going to fully know unless you struggle yourself sometimes. It depends on what it is.
It's challenges.
Yeah.
You know, it's certain life things.
Not going to the bottom, but just having some struggle.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, being the youngest of four brothers, you know, I watched all of them do some stupid things and learn what not to do. But some things I kind of had to learn for myself, you know.
For sure.
So, but no, I appreciate you coming up here, man. I really appreciate you taking some time to come and talk with us. You know, I've been super excited about this.
Yeah,
I appreciate excited to have you guys. And I hope we can have another one with your partners to come on, man, and come and talk with us because you guys are doing great work, man.
Yeah,
like
thank you, man.
It's very impressive. It's very fun to watch because you guys are growing quick, quick, and you're doing a lot of things that a lot of other promotions and stuff out here are striving to do, and you guys are doing it fast. I can only see in about 5 years, y'all gonna be the big dogs.
Yeah, hopefully,
I
man,
feel it.
for sure.
No, I know it.
You're gonna be right there with us, man. Both of y'all.
Y'all already got the name, honestly.
Antidote agency.
We're trying to be the antidote to the industry, man.
No, know what I mean?
That's what we're trying to do.
Bridging the gap, man, and helping artists really get the opportunities that they earn, you know?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I love to see it, man. Shout out all your social media real quick.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, man. At Antidote_agency. That's the company page. My personal one is Antidote Music. That's music with a Q at the end. And so, you can check us out there, man. We got a lot going on. Definitely stay tapped in because there's some dope things coming up. Like I said, maybe we'll come back and recap all that, later.
Damn right.
But yeah, definitely follow us and hit us up. If you got some things you're working on, if you're an artist out there, if this touched you, if we can help you, we're here for that. So definitely reach out to us as well.
Y'all better be prepared and ready, though. Don't be coming at him with some bull crap. He ain't trying to hear all that.
Yeah. And be prepared for criticism.
Man.
For sure.
Yeah. We didn't even mention that.
We gave you the foundation of what to do, the formula.
And don't be afraid to hear a no, because it might not be a no forever. It might just be a for now no. It's a no for now. It's a improve a little bit more and then come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got to work on it. I got to say something like that. I don't want to just ghost people. You know what I'm saying?
I
gotta have something to follow up and say, you know what? Maybe not now. But come back.
Yeah, and it's. Because for me, it's like it's explaining like this is what we're looking for, and this is where we feel like you got to be in order to be at this level. Because I just don't think you're ready yet.
Yeah,
that's it. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get there. It just means that at this moment you're not ready. You know what I mean?
For sure.
That's how it be though, guys. And this has been another week, another beautiful conversation, man. I've been super excited about the last few weeks of shows, man. We've had some amazing people up here, and I love the conversations that's been had, man, and
gems,
a lot of them.